Conveying the impact, emotions, and significance in the story of a book is very hard to do. And I just read a Goosebumps book that was one heck of a wild ride. So I feel like I need a good way to explain how this book made me feel, how it make you feel, and overall how significant its story was. I used to work in a hotel, a lower end hotel, for a specific company. I'm not going to name the name because I would get in trouble. But this lower end hotel was very ghetto. There was a lot of crazy people who came into this hotel. I had to work alone on the evening shifts because maintenance and housekeeping would leave during the afternoon. And about 1 month into my training, essentially 1 month into my job, I had to work an evening shift by myself. And what happened was I was checking in a couple guests, and this squad of 5 police officers went through the automatic doors and ran up to the elevator. So right away I'm like, all right, that's a little bit of a strange sight, a little bit peculiar, an anomaly. I had to hit the rock face on him, what's going on here? And basically what ended up happening was a female, not so safe for work worker happened to be in the hotel. And when the police tried confronting her over the certain illegal activities she was doing, she happened to jump out of the second story window, threw cocaine into the grass, and she jumped out the second story window of her room topless. She had the puppies out. And let's just say I had to go confront the police officers about what was going on, and one of the tall guys came over to me and he was laughing, and he explained that, this is what happened, this is what she did, and he told me to get a towel because they had to wrap it over her. Now, obviously, he wanted to cover up the sights. I was a little bit against it, but I was like, all right, you know what, we gonna do it. And then they had to have me identify her. Now, they didn't have any social media of her, they didn't have any pictures of her. What they did have was her not so safe for work advertisements. Yeah, for the services. I had to go through those pictures. The police officer literally had his phone and was showing me the pictures, and they were all normal until the third one, in which case she was in quite the animalistic position, and may or may not have been fully dressed for the occasion, let's say. Or maybe she was undressed for the occasion. If you get what I'm saying. He covered it up, and that's pretty much the end of the story. It was crazy. It was wild. However, this entire experience was monumental and ties back to me now. 2 reasons why. First of all, she didn't offer any services to front desk. I feel like that's sort of like a courtesy. We're going to move past that. Felicia already beat me up for saying that before. But what the main experience here is that kind of wild ride is what you get when you read One Day at Horrorland. That's right. That's the book, the OG 62 book that I just read right now, the most recently, because it was one of the last iconic books I had left to read. And I was like, you know what, let me check it out. And I checked out the episode, and I was like, wow, that was one heck of an adventure. This book is one of the most fun Goosebumps books you guys could discover. It has one of the best settings. Hey, talking about police, you got police sirens out there. That's my power right there. You say I don't plan these videos. You say these are unplanned, but this is what happens. This is one of the most fun books out there. It's a great experience. It easily has the best setting, and this story was so popular that it ended up getting not only a sequel book in Series 2000, not only a video game after it, and some spin-offs, not really tied to Horrorland, but in similar veins to Horrorland, GYG Carnival of Horrors. And then you ended up getting an entire spin-off series, which was based off of One Day at Horrorland. So yeah, that is basically this story, this entire picture of the story. And yeah, I checked it out. It was great. This is a really fun read. You got a lot of cool creative moments in there. You got some pretty intense moments if you envision yourself. And if you're like me, who I love amusement parks and stuff, but I don't like scary rides, and this will get to you if you read this book. If you're in that similar kind of vein and atmosphere, and you've been to places like Disney World or Six Flags or stuff like that, you will really enjoy this book. And you will also get to enjoy that story in the beginning. And that's the main reason why I told this story in the beginning, because this story is called One Day at Horrorland. And when I keep saying Horrorland and horror, the way that I sometimes say it so fast, it sounds like I'm saying whore. Huh? Not so safe worker? Huh? Horrorland? Horrorland? Alright, don't click on it. Just hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. You don't gotta like my jokes. I don't care if you like my jokes or not. Just hit both of the buttons and just keep watching, alright? Or just turn it off. I don't care at this point. Either way, let's talk about the story. So what's this story about? This story is about these kids, Lizzie and Luke, they are siblings, and their friend Clay is tagging along with them. And the story starts off with them driving through the middle of the desert with their parents. Their parents are trying to get to this zoological park. I'm assuming it's like some kind of garden, zoo place that they're trying to attend to in maybe like a petting zoo or something. And as they're trying to find it, they're completely lost because the dad forgot to get a map and the mom is bad with directions, and the dad keeps on getting more and more frustrated. He starts yelling, he starts getting aggravated, he can't find anything. They're in the middle of the desert, and obviously the kids are getting impatient. Lizzie tries to calm down and act like the older sibling. Luke is freaking out. Clay's his friend, so they both start fighting with each other and, causing mischief. And eventually what ends up happening is that they decide to just keep on driving, keep on going, and see what happens. Try to go the opposite way and see if they can get unlost. And what they end up finding is this huge billboard in the middle of the desert. And this huge billboard has this green demon on it with these large horns, these red eyes, and it's holding onto the sign. And the sign says in, red writing like blood, "Welcome to Horrorland, where nightmares come true." And they realize that they've stumbled upon a unique amusement park in the middle of the desert. And obviously, considering that they're lost and they have nowhere to go, the kids manage to convince the parents, all right, let's just go into this amusement park. It can't hurt. We'll have fun. Maybe we can find somebody who will help us and get us directions. So they decide to head out over there. And their car blows up. Their car literally explodes. Yes, that's in a Goosebumps book. Their car got blown up. It didn't just explode by accident. Someone must have strapped the C4 under there. They must have hit him with a cruise missile. I don't know what happened, but that car blew up. They all freak out. They're like, what the heck? And then as they get to the amusement park, they basically realize, oh, we're stuck here. Oh, that's right. You can't escape. Yeah, that's right. Nightmares do come true. You're stuck at Horrorland. And that's where this story basically goes. You have the kids exploring Horrorland. You find out some of the amusement park rides and unique features. There's a place called the Werewolf Village where it may or may not have actual werewolves in it living amongst these houses and forests. You have something called the Doom Slide, which is potentially a slide that will keep going on forever and forever until you eventually reach your doom. You have the House of Mirrors, where you may or may not be getting into illusions and traps. You have a coffin ride, which may or may not be the last ride you ever take. And there's a lot of cool things. There's an alligator pond. There's this vampire bat cave barn kind of area. There's a lot of cool things in Horrorland, and you get to experience a lot of these fun rides. You see the kids progressively getting more and more scared because initially they think this is all part of the gimmick, this is all part of the ride. These monsters that are, attending the ticket booths and walking around in these costumes, they look so realistic. These green demon things, these guys are trying to act like we're stuck here and we're never going to find a way out and that we're potentially going to die or meet our end. They think it's all a part of the fun, right? Like if you go to Disney World, everybody's in costumes, everybody's playing the role. You feel like this is Disney World, but it's not Disney World. It's Goosebumps Disney World. And here things get very dark. You realize how dangerous this park may be. You realize some of the dangers that come with it. You get some really creative ways that these kids encounter bad situations. And once you find out where the story's going, there's this basically big reveal. And in this big reveal, they kind of hint to you that some of these things may have had more going on than may meet the eye. Maybe this is all real, maybe it's not. Maybe there's another layer to Horrorland that you haven't discovered yet. And then they discover that, and you get this very intense climax. It is this basically game of tag, this chase that happens where it's basically a chase for your life, and you get all these cool characters, figures, monsters, or things introduced into that part of the story. And you eventually get to the very, very climax, which they may or may not come to a certain decision that maybe saved them, maybe didn't. And then at the very end, you get a twist ending, which is creepy, but also pretty funny. And I think it's a pretty good way to end this book. So that's essentially One Day at Horrorland. A lot of you guys have probably read this book. Some of you may or not have read this book. Like me, I never read Horrorland. I never checked out. Even when I've read books from Goosebumps Horrorland, I only read the separate stories. I never read the second parts. I'm saving that all for one big read through. And I've never played the video game, never read the sequel. I believe I saw a little bit of the episode as a kid, but barely remember it. So this is all the first time I was experiencing it. And my God, it's a lot of fun. This is probably one of the most fun Goosebumps books. It has a lot of creative potential. I 100% get why it got a lot of sequels. Some people are like, oh my god, there's so many sequels involving Horrorland, but the location is so cool and it has a lot of potential for merchandise and marketing that I completely get it. This was a great idea from Stein. And even though the characters aren't remarkable, I think the story and the setting, especially the setting, really carries it. And I give this one a 9.4 out of 10. So this one just barely outside of my S rank. It's going to be at the very top of an A plus rank. This is a fantastic book. I would definitely go tell you guys to check it out. And although there are certain things that I maybe have wanted more, they don't really hinder my experience from the book. So go check it out. You will have a great time. Hopefully you will have a better time reading this book than the kids did dealing with Horrorland. And yeah, that's really all I have for this review. This is a very to the point story, and it does its job effectively. Going forward, I'm going to eventually read the Goosebumps Horrorland sequel that was in SK2 or S2K. And then I'll probably read the GYGs. There's GYGs called the Carnival of Horrors, which I think is a little bit similar in vein to Horrorland. And I've already seen the episodes. Those reviews will be coming out shortly. And obviously I'm reading the Goosebumps Horrorland series. So that one I have to read all the individual stories for. And then I'm going to tackle the big wraparound story. Do I feel like Stein or Goosebumps or Scholastic may have done a little bit too much with Horrorland? Yeah, maybe they could have cut it down a bit. But it seems like everybody has a fun time. And after reading this first book, I had a really fun time involving the episodes. The second part of the episode 2-parter, I had a really great time with. Even if it was nothing like the book, that was a super fun episode. One of the most fun episodes I've watched in the series. And yeah, I'm a fan of Horrorland. So yeah, I think I've read pretty much every iconic Goosebumps story out of the old ones. Maybe there's a few that I'm missing from the moderns. But yeah, guys, I've mostly read all the good stuff that you guys recommend to me, and especially the ones in Discord who know my taste, know my preferences. You guys have recommended to me. So yeah, I feel pretty achieved. And that's all I have for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed. And may you stay tuned for more videos to come. I'm going to have more content dropping soon. Probably some from Are You Afraid of the Dark, and hopefully some more adult horror stuff. As for what I'm currently reading, I'm currently reading a new Spine Tinglers book. And I'm actually buddy reading with my friends Monster Blood, who just started the book today, and Goosebumps Completion is going to be starting it shortly. So yeah, I'll be excited to review that. Although with how the book's going right now, I don't know. We will see. Yeah, that's all I have for today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and deuces. Yo, man, Goosebumps Horrorland. You guys were really getting in the gutter right there. You thought I was talking about the Playboy amusement park. Nah, man, not that Horrorland. Horrorland, all right? Although, to be fair, Horrorland. Listen, guys, maybe I might need to get a ticket. Lifetime passes? Anybody?